Hello everybody, it's WJ here and welcome back to the Noord. I'm sorry for the lack of content for the last couple of weeks, but I really needed a break to get refreshed and inspired again. But we're back and today we will mostly finish the detailing of the old center. We start with a cheese market. First I added some planters to represent the rugs on which the cheeses lay to prevent any damage to them. And then it is time to place some cheese. I use these cylinders by Kozonak that are especially made for use with the Procedural Objects mod. With a custom cheesy texture, they actually look just like the real thing. But at the moment the scale is pretty off. I didn't notice it until later, and I will replace all the cheeses I put down now with smaller ones. You'll see the result in the end. But for now, let me tell you why on earth I'm making a cheese market. Well, apart from cheese itself being a typical Dutch thing, cheese markets are as well. Back in the 17th century, Dutch cheese farmers traditionally took their cheeses to the town's market square to sell them. There are currently 5 cheese markets that are still operating in Woerden, Alkmaar, Gouda, Edam and Hoorn. These markets still function as farmers' markets for cheeses in addition to hosting dramatic reenactments of sales techniques from the Golden Age. These techniques include handjeklap, traders clapping each other's hands and shouting numbers to settle on a price. Once a price was agreed, the kaasdragers or cheese carriers would take the cheeses to the waag to weigh them. The cheeses were transported to the market by boat or by handcart. So I'm making a handcart right now. First I move the wheels out of the way so I have a better view of the nodes of the cart itself. I felt the wooden railing was a bit too high and the handlebar a bit too wide. Then I move back one set of wheels, rotate the cart, scale it down a bit and fill it with overscaled cheeses. Because of the wind direction, all the planes that are traveling towards Schiphol airport fly directly over my house. So every once in a while you'll hear some rumble in the background. I'm truly sorry, but as there are planes flying over pretty much every 2 minutes, I can't really do anything about it. As I said, when the cheeses are sold, they are transported on a wooden barry that is carried between 2 men. A barry can have up to 130 kilos of cheese on them at a time. I make the barry out of these hammocks. First, I moved the unnecessary parts out of the way, then added the shape of this single wooden beam. I place a procedural objects cube with a wooden texture, flatten it quite a bit and then copy the beam. And there we have it. I just copy it around before we start surrounding the square with some fences. Some tents at the entrances where the security people prevent unwanted tourists from wandering onto the square. And some trucks, because nowadays the cheese obviously is not transported by boat anymore. But it used to be. and to lift the cheeses from the boats, they used wooden cranes. So let's build one, out of some assets from the ferry fender pack by Vasimir 22. While I'm doing this, let's talk about some other stuff. The future of my projects, that is. Don't worry, I will not cancel any one of them. All my save games made it through the new DLC update. But as I said in the beginning, lately I was struggling a bit with finding inspiration. I had and still have numerous ideas for both the Noord and Heimstad, but working them out has been the problem. Especially when I started recording, I somehow hit a builder's block. So, I decided to start a new and completely different city, just for my own pleasure. At first I had no intention on making any kind of YouTube series out of it. But now that this city is developing into something that I actually really like, I am thinking of sharing it with you in some way. But I haven't recorded anything of the building process. So I will have to figure out how I will turn a bunch of cinematics into an interesting video. I am getting close to a point where I think I can start on the first video on this new city. So keep an eye on my channel if you're interested in something a little less European from me. Also, you may have seen Skibbet's latest Arndorf video, where he built a horse racetrack and mentioned that there is also such a track in Heimstad. Unfortunately, I wasn't planning on building one, so I will have to see if I can find a place to fit one in. But fortunately, I was planning on a different kind of racetrack. The layout of the track is already done, but the detailing and everything is far from done. In the next episode of Heimstad, I will probably first show you the new district that I'm building. And hopefully I can finish the hospital that I'm working on as well. Here in the Noord, I have been working hard on a large expansion of the center of Sint-Aagten. It is about 80% done when it comes to placing the buildings, but there's still a lot of detailing that needs to be done. And there is this castle that I like and dislike at the same time. Mostly because the available assets do not have that typical Dutch red brick texture. Although I have finished the build, I'm still thinking of reworking it completely, using some custom procedural object cubes with my own custom textures. Oh, we'll see how it'll work out. But all in all, there are more than enough ongoing builds to make videos, so I guess my channel still has a bright future. Let's just hope more people will find it. But now, back to Sint-Aagten. I placed the crane next to the canal, and now I'm scaling this boat up a bit, and then place some cheese in it. I realized here that the water level in the canals is a bit on the low side. But lowering the whole city and everything in it will be quite hard, so I may have to try and just raise the water level a bit, which may result in some unwanted changes to the coastline. Oh well, nobody said playing City Skylines in full-on detail mode was easy. Now, to finish the cheese market, I placed flags on the Waag and around the square, before building some stalls where the tourists can buy overpriced cheese. Now it's time for the kermis. Originally, a kermis was an annual fair on the occasion of some kind of church festivity. The word kermis is therefore derived from the word kerkmis, church mass. After the mass, there were traveling attractions and stalls to entertain the people. But with money in hand, celebrating a fun fair after a year of hard work, combined with alcohol consumption, led to loose and immoral behavior. The kermis was therefore seen by the higher bourgeoisie as uncivilized and a source of moral decline. Nowadays, the kermis usually takes about a week, and the attractions you can find vary from all sorts of gambling games to fun rides, such as carousels, Ferris wheels and even small roller coasters. You'll find these attractions throughout the whole center of towns or cities. Here in Sint Achten I didn't have that much space, so I decided to place everything around the church and the doelen. It's all a bit crammed together, but that's how it is in real life as well. Because I turned this carousel into a procedural object, it sadly doesn't spin anymore. Apart from these attractions, you will find a lot of food trucks offering typical Dutch food such as poffertjes, which are tiny pancakes, or oliebollen, deep-fried donut balls. Also, there are stalls with massive candy canes and candy floss and all that sweet stuff.
The return of the funky man.
Now the last thing I'm doing today is detailing the riverside. I place a lot of benches and planters with bushes and trees, as well as some parking places for bicycles. I did not have these yet, and it wouldn't make a Dutch city without a lot of them. Because of the narrow streets in the center and therefore the lack of parking areas for cars, the easiest way to go shopping is using your bicycle. Also, the infrastructure here is really focused on the use of bicycles, which makes sense in a small flat country where everything is in close range. But I'll probably get back to that in a future episode. For now, you can enjoy watching me place a lot of crap, and with that, this episode comes to a close. I hope you have enjoyed it and that maybe I have shown you a few tips and tricks to improve your building skills or inspire you in any way. If you have any questions or suggestions, do leave them in the comment section. And if you like this video, please give it a nice thumbs up. Oh, and by the way, the collection with all the assets that I'm using, it is coming, don't worry. But I still have quite some assets in my collection that I actually do not use, so I still need to figure out which assets I want to keep and which ones I need to remove. But for now, have a great day and hope to see you next time. Bye bye. And of course, a big shout out to my Patreon fan. Oh my god. Whooshy whooshy outside. I'm gonna start again. Oh, come on. With the whooshy whooshy. Okay, here we go. And in the end, of course, a big shout out to my Patreon fam, the Justinator, Julius Bunda and Kai. Thank you so much. Bye bye.